Hello and welcome back to the Join Dota League Season number 5, American Division 2 here on HeflaTV 1. This is going to be a 2-game series, or rather Game 2 of a 2-game series, between the Houses Down and CNB. As far as Game 1 is concerned, I really like the Houses Down's lineup. I think it looked pretty solid, all things considered, but they just kind of sat on their heroes for a little too long and allowed the enemy Medusa to get absolutely stacked, and well, all it took was just a handful of fights, 2 double damage runes for the Dusa and some subpar initiations, and well, from there on out, the House is down, completely lost control of the game, and it was gone from there. I didn't expect them to call GG when they did, maybe fight it out for a couple more minutes, but in all honesty, they probably would have lost it anyway. Either way, we'll have to see if they come back in game number 2, and again, we're going to see the Bristleback coming out from the Houses down. Game 1, Strace Bristleback looked pretty darn solid as far as the amount of farm he was able to pick up on the hero, but they didn't do much with it. So I'd like to see the Houses down maybe pick up some more aggressive heroes, or at the very least play their heroes more aggressively around this Bristleback. Although he is a hero that scales very well into the later portions of the game, is no Medusa, as we saw in game number 1. Lion going to pick up for CNB, and although it didn't win the game last time, it really did quite a lot of work, and I think as far as supports are concerned, probably one of the best ones. Following that up with Eventual Spirit, I would not knock it in the slightest. If they wanted to go for THD's support duo from last game, and they're going to go ahead and do so. Earthshaker going to be followed up by THD, wasting no time with that one, and already both teams have knocked out at least a portion of their supporting cast. 3 out of the 4 of these first picks have been supports, and I think that's completely acceptable since they are going to pretty much be able to build any team they want around these supporting heroes. Lion, Vengeful Spirit, and Earthshaker by no means are going to pigeonhole you in any specific style of play. They all look pretty solid when you're playing defensively, helping out your carry get a little bit more farm, scale pretty darn well with items, all 3 of them, and well, play pretty well aggressively too, setting up with some early fissures, some magic missiles, earth spikes, and hexes. Just a lot of lockdown coming out from these 3, and I think they're all pretty darn solid in their own right. Viper Shadow Fiend, the bans out from the Houses down, securing the mid lane, and CNB will ban out the Brewmaster and Invoker. Even though in game number 1 we saw both of these banned out in the first stage by the Houses down, it's definitely more reasonable to see them banned out in the second stage. We're, again, not going to see these heroes, and although I think both of these teams would like to maybe get their hands onto them, it's not going to be the case. The mid lane is looking pretty slim as far as the heroes that they want to pick up for it. One of the heroes that I'd like to keep my eyes on throughout this draft is Timbersaw. Even though I think it's a little too early in the draft for CNB to pick it up, we're already dealing with 2 strength heroes and ones that have a little bit of difficulty locking down that Timber unless you're willing to commit a Blink Echo Slam to that Timbersaw.
Wind Ranger at your
Instead, it's going to be a Wind Ranger for CNB, and well, just another one of those really solid all-around heroes. Wind Ranger with the power shot, wonderful wave clear there, can make some flashy plays if you land those shackles, and with the setup coming out from the Venge and the Lion, should be able to do so fairly reliably, and offers a decent amount of scaling damage throughout the game with Focus Fire. Really good hero. Can't really say much more, although it's up to individual play whether or not it's better than others at the jobs. I think that's the biggest issue with Wind Ranger, is that even though she's good at a lot of things, she's not great at any one thing. So it does take some experienced hands to really make the hero shine. Scarlet Mage going to be a choice for the Houses down, and potentially going to dissuade CNB from going for that Timbersaw I was talking about a little bit earlier, but still going to be a welcome addition to their team. Scarlet Mage offering a nice single target silence, amplifying the damage of both him and the Earthshaker, a really potent supporting duo. Slightly less effective than the Lion and Vengeful Spirit, but only just. I think these are completely acceptable as far as support picks are concerned for THD. Sniper, the pickup from CNB next, was banned out in the previous game. Might persuade the Houses down to go into something a little bit more jumpy, or something to initiate, and I'm not exactly sure what I was trying to say there, but either way, they want something akin to like a Storm Spirit or a Phantom Assassin to actually get up in the Sniper's grill and stop him from accomplishing his duties as the main physical DPS coming out from CNB. And well, we'll have to see if they're going to be able to accomplish that. The Houses down are currently in a situation where they are pretty much forced into picking up one of their cores. I think it's pretty safe to pick up your offlaner here. If they want to go for something a little bit more secure, a little bit less restricting, Centaur looks pretty good for the Houses down, even though in the laning stage he's not going to have the greatest of times up against Avenged Lion +1 lane. Yeah, he'll probably still be able to get his levels, and a blinking hoof stomp initiation onto a sniper with a Skyroth Mage behind him is wonderful, and also not to mention Stampede, especially when you're dealing with a hero like Bristleback that really wants to get up in your face. Going to be really annoying for the sniper to deal with all around. I think that's pretty good. If not, why not go for the Tidehunter of last game, but I think the offlaner is probably going to be picked up here for THD. That is, if they're going to be playing the Bristleback in the safe lane or in the mid even, although I think that's very unlikely with CNB's heroes. But I think that's probably the better way to do it. Give that Bristleback some farm. In the off lane, I don't think he's going to be able to get enough done. The house is down instead. We'll snag up a Zeus for themselves. And although it's not going to be initiating as strongly as the center is going to be offering a heap ton of damage. If you take a look at CNB's lineup, very, very squishy. None of their heroes particularly have good mana pools, and this Zeus is going to be having an absolute field day if he gets off to a good start. Not to mention Ancient Seal plus Zeus equals ouch. It really does start to stack up. Yeah, I do like this pick for the house is down. If CNB give it enough room, I think if they want to stop from being absolutely obliterated, they're going to need to put some pressure onto him in the middle lane, if that is where THD are going to throw him. And we just didn't see that in the previous game. The early laning stage was incredibly passive, especially from CNB, in fact. They really didn't do very much. But I think with this Venged Lion, they have the opportunity and shouldn't waste it to kill this Zeus, or whatever THD throw to that mid. It very well could be an off-lane Zeus, although again, it's just not a comfortable position to throw it into. Although it's not unheard of to see a Zeus into the off-lane, I don't think this is the game for it. CNB just have a little bit too much range, a little bit too much CC for the Zeus to feel comfortable, even with boots first. Well then, we'll have to see what CNB are going to go ahead and ban out. Probably should take out that center I was talking about earlier, or maybe some other offlaner. I think that's how the houses down are going to line it up, but honestly, they're pretty much open to whatever they want to go for. It's actually going to be a Lycan Last coming out from CNB. Interestingly enough, there are a lot of different ways that the houses down could shuffle around these lanes. There is also the chance that Earthshaker Skyroth Mage could be thrown into a core role, although I don't see any reason to do that, or anything that would mandate that. For the houses down, however, we're probably looking at a beefy frontliner, or at least something to get the jump on the enemy team. They're going to ban out the Clockwork themselves, and honestly, that would have been a really good pickup for them, for their team, that I wasn't really considering. And probably should have. Clock would have been wonderful, comboing with the Skyroth Mage, as well as just being a really good hero all around. The center I was talking about is not going to be picked up by the house is down, but instead by CNB themselves, and they'll respond very quickly with a Broodmother. Right now, the wave clear coming out from CNB, very, very limited, and their ability to actually catch out that Brood is also not the greatest. This could get very scary for them, although it is going to rely on the supports getting a decent amount of farm for guaranteed initiations. I think for the most part of this game, THD can rely on just running into the enemy team, and we'll have to see how much the crazy Broodmother this game is going to be able to do. The rest of his teammates suggest on the Zeus Mano, on the Earthshaker, Strafe on the Bristleback again, and Zeal will be handling that Skyroth Mage. But all around, this 5th pick Broodmother is going to be very scary for CNB to deal with. And, well, speaking of CNB, their lineup is going to be composed of Ned playing on that line, Klotz 2-2 on the Sniper, Deeks on the Vengeful Spirit, Jubilu on the Centaur, Warner, and Alameo on the Wind Ranger. Well, let's see how these lanes are going to match up, I wonder. I'd expect Klotz 2-2 to be taking up the mid lane, but I wouldn't be surprised if Wind Ranger did either. Really, honestly, if either one of them take it, it's probably going to be a pretty similar experience up against the Zeus. As far as denying farm away from those heroes, Zeus can do absolutely nothing, but then again with Chain Lightning should be able to get a decent amount of farm himself. Slight advantage towards CNB in that mid lane. Safe lane, as far as that's concerned, I don't think they're going to be able to put much pressure at all against the Bristleback. The Centaur Warner by himself, 1v1 against the Bristleback, already struggles a decent bit. And then once you add in a Skyroth Mage chunking arcane bolts at you incessantly, you're not going to be able to do much at all. And as far as the safe lane is concerned, or rather the Broodmother versus the tri-lane from CNB is concerned, it's going to go decently well for the Broodmother, I foresee. The Brood, although she has potential to die, at the very least she's going to be able to soak experience. I think she's going to be pretty safe to just skirt around the sidelines, and if anybody gets caught out of position, these heroes are incredibly squishy coming out from CNB, and Broodmother can very heavily abuse that if you have some extra points into Spawn Spiderlings, which is absolutely the worst name for a spell, as well as with a small Spiderling army. And I could really see the crazy running away with this lane, or rather with this game, although the early laning stage is going to be a little bit challenging. Alright then, we'll have to see how these early contentions for the bounty runes are going to pay off for both sides. Currently, both of them out of the gate and ready to go, placing wards for both of them. Broodmother has already picked up her ward from one of the supports and is going to look to get that as deep as possible. But unfortunately for Brood, is a darn slow hero and can't actually get there fast enough. It looks like, again, we're going to see the Radiant side get to their jungle and secure control over the jungle a little bit faster, although Brood already has a web down. She's going to bump into a line, and that's pretty much the end of that. And this time around, do they have money to buy sentries? They've already pre-bought sentries on the Vengeful Spirit, so the Crazy's ward is going to be pretty obvious where it is, or won't be long for this world, so to speak. Top rune, Centaur is going to be poking his face over here, and, well, I don't think he's going to be able to get it. The Earthshaker, as long as he gets a good block off, is going to be able to very easily secure this for his team. We'll just have to see what's going to happen. Right now, the Radiant team are sitting on the bottom lane where the Broodmother can't do anything about it, and I think it's a similar story up towards top. Whoever they want to give it to is going to be able to get it, and it looks like that might be Mino. Going to give him a little bit of extra experience on this Earthshaker, making sure that we don't have any no experience until level 2.5 shenanigans that we saw last game. Already back into all of our lanes for both sides as we just kind of start chilling. Looks like Sniper picked himself up the rune in bottom, and he'll even fly himself out a fresh set of tangos to supplement his starting items. Going for pretty much as much stats as you can at level 1, Klotsu 2 is going to be able to CS pretty nicely up against the Zeus. Lucky enough for him, one of the heroes that really just can't contest a Sniper when it comes to farm. His animation is garbage and his damage is even worse. Oh! Sniper messed up. That is going to be one deny going the way of Suggest, but that's more than acceptable. I think they'll be able to come back from this. Pretty much no questions asked. Although the very early landing stage is looking pretty good for the Zeus. Centaur Warner, on the other hand, not going to be having a very fun lane. Constantly zoned out by the Skywrath Mage, although he sees experience every once in a while, is probably not going to be able to get very much out of this lane as far as CS is concerned. Broodmother, on the other hand, is pretty much getting about the same. So, you know, whatever. Both of these offlaners are pretty much in the same boat. As far as the potential for rotations, I think the mid lane is the place to be when it comes to that, and I expect a lot of support rotations there in the next couple of minutes. From the Skywrath Mage, Earthshaker combination, and Venge Lion combination, Zeus and Sniper, this is one of the easiest ganked lanes in mid. Neither of them have any escapes, neither of them are very fast at all, and both of them contribute a decent amount to the ganks, whether it be through shrapnel coming out from the Sniper, or by just the raw damage coming out from the Zeus. Klotsu 2 has actually managed to find himself a large experience advantage. I think that's mostly just due to the early bounty rune. It does do a lot in the mid lane, especially if it's not matched by the enemy team. The Crazy has found himself a nice little nook inside the trees with which to soak experience, and he'll be able to keep on doing this. Every once in a while, he'll snag a CS or two with the spawn Spiderlings, but well, all things considered, he's going to be doing just fine. He'll actually get another CS with that Spiderling, 18 damage OP. It is piercing, so it is a little bit easier to get those CS with it, but still well done by the Brood. We'll see a Fissure thrown out by the Earthshaker, blocking off Jublu from the Invis rune up towards top. Trading blows. It's not a fight that Mino can win by himself, but at the very least, it secures the rune for the Zeus. And that's all that was meant to do. And it is what it's going to accomplish, so fair enough. Well then, both of these offlaners continuing to be zoned out, we'll have to see. Neither team particularly good at utilizing stacks for their side to actually farm them up. Bristleback can do so once he gets some extra levels and all, but for now, not really the case. Rotation in mid from the Lion, big wraparound. He's actually got to snipe the Courier. Courier's gone. Fortunately enough, the bottle or anything wasn't on it, but still, even though they don't get the Zeus kill, more than worth it. For CNB's side, nice rotation coming out from Ned, and I think it was only a matter of time. He'll get his level 3 here soon enough, and if he clarities up, he'll have enough mana to use his full combination, and even without it, is still a potent threat up against Suggest. Even though he has the Skywrath Mage behind him, I really think that these supports should probably switch position. I think the Earthshaker would be doing a lot more in mid than the Skywrath has the potential to, with just defensive fissures at the ready. with that in mind, there's really not else happening. Again, it's going to be the Dyer's Courier getting sniped, as we saw already once again this series. Down towards bottom, he'll spot out the Crazy and has a little bit of his army. Magic Missile disjointed. Broodmother, not sure if that was really well timed or even intended, but either way, Sentry was a little bit further down the lane. Worst case scenario, the Magic Missile hits and then he fades invis and they don't do anything about it since there's no further detection. On the Radiant side, now is where things start to pick up for the Broodmother. Soul Ring could be picked up at any time if he disassembles the Basilius to actually sustain him inside the lane. And these Spiderlings already start doing quite a chunk of damage. The Power Shot is going to clear out a couple, feeding away about 3 CS towards the Wind Ranger, but that's it. Up towards the top river area, Mino is flirting a little bit with the enemy team, but isn't actually going to get caught out and isn't going to be able to secure the rune. This time it's going to go the way of the Radiant. There's your Soul Ring for the Broodmother, ends up disassembling that Basilius, as I was talking about a little bit earlier, and the Crazy is going to be able to spam out the Spiderlings just a little bit more. Building up an army, maybe even able to farm up some jungle creeps here and there once he's able to extend his web that away. Really, they do need some extra detection in this bottom lane to really make it work. Vengeful Spirit's currently holding on to Wind Ranger's bottle. Looks like she was looking to refill that one up and, well, eventually will return it to its rightful owner, so to speak. The Sniper didn't go for bottle in the mid, which is pretty standard for snipers, I suppose, or at least decently so. Nothing too crazy. So they at the very least have one bottle in their lane. Earthshaker has made his way towards mid. Potential wraparound attempt onto Klotsu too. But it might take a little bit more than that. It's really the Broodmother that's in a bit of a pickle. Power Shot's going to miss, however, and she's going to be just fine. Earthshaker has made his way up towards the high ground, but ends up not finding an angle for the Fissure block onto the Sniper. So Sniper is going to live to pew-pew another day, and he's going to go very aggressive on the suggest. Earthshaker not expecting that, probably should have stuck around. That would have been a very easy Fissure block if he was able to find that angle. But in the end, not going to be the case. 0-0, 5 minutes and 20 seconds into the game. Both of these teams, their early laning stages are just so passive. And not to take anything away from them, they're both fine teams, but as a caster, selfishly maybe, I really do like seeing quite a bit more action than this. Well then, back to pretty much the same old, farming away. There is going to be an assassinate mid, I believe, from the Sniper, and that's going to drop suggest low, but he'll just head straight back to base. Again, we're going to have another pause, just added the blue. Who knows what's going on here, but well, it's line pausing. Sorry, go. The tack pause is real. Honestly, I don't think there's anything they could have known from that they didn't know already, or anything they could prepare for. Lion going to get an Earth Spike onto a million Spiderlings, and, well, is being pursued by the Crazy. If this Spiderling army actually had a chance to attack onto that line, could be in for a very nasty treat. They'll Power Shot through these Spiderlings and feeds away 6 CS over to Alameo. It is a little bit deceptive to see that on the CS chart, but the Wind Ranger's still farming at a decent rate. You do need to be wary of that as a Broodmother when you are losing yourself. There is a Shackle attempt. Latches a creep to the river. They will be able to catch out the Crazy with another Hex following up, and this very well might be our first blood. Is the Crazy going to be able to make his way over the trees and through the woods? To Grandma's house he goes. Will he actually be able to make it to Grandma's house? Looks like he will. They spot him out, but he's going to survive. Soul Ring, attack into the Brood, and that's the first blood with the Zeus ultimate. What a cheeky play. He's going to lose his life for it, but my goodness. That was cute. Either way, up towards top. Looks like that's going to be where our next bit of action is going to occur, as Mina is going to find a nice wraparound onto the Centaur, but who's found who? Zeal's going to need the Hoof Stomp double edge. Nice Fissure to bail out the Scar. Now salving up. Going to survive. They'll start pursuing him with some Goose Axe as well as Quills from the Centaur, or from the Bristleback onto the Centaur. I'll look for a neutral deny, but going to be denied by some Quills coming out from a strafe. And just like that, 2-1 is going to be our kill scores. THD strike first, and that's actually pretty darn big to give Suggest that kill. He was struggling quite a bit up against the Sniper. 48 and 18 compared to 25 and 2. Much needed bit of golden experience for Zeus. If I'm not mistaken, you do get global experience for kills that you get with Zeus ulti. Either way, things are looking good for THD outside of the mid lane. Their bottom lane is looking a lot better than the Centaur, even though the Crazy ended up dying there. Is involved in that kill and gets quite a bit out of it. Now level 6, the bottom lane needs to be careful, especially whenever that Zeus ulti is online. The burst damage that comes out of this lane is pretty darn scary. Once you have that maxed out Spiderlings, it's 300 damage from that, and then the Zeus ulti is another 225 to top it all up. That's 525 nuke damage that can come out of absolutely anywhere, or anywhere inside the Spider's web, which is pretty darn scary. starting to exert a little bit of control over the enemy woods. The Broodmother will be able to find quite a bit. Jubilu is going to get stunned up by the vision, but secures the boundary room just the same. Now Mina's bitten off a lot more than Kachu. Double edge, one more right click, two right click. Lion secures the last hit, and CNB will find themselves a free Earthshaker. Just a really awkward spot for him to get caught out, in all honesty, and well, that is going to be the death of Mino, but it's only a level 3 Earthshaker, not the end of the world to lose him. Just pretty much the swing that you see there. The Crazy is now going to start farming up over inside the woods, and really this is probably the most interesting thing on the map to look at. No action is really happening, so Broodmother farming is probably about as good as we're going to get. But yeah, the web network now extends throughout the Radiant jungle and can start accelerating her farm that way. And maybe even by taking a kill or two onto the Wind Ranger. Power Shot going to miss. And, well, the Spiderling army is a force to be reckoned with. If he can isolate the Venge, Lion, or even the Wind Ranger to a certain extent, could be in for a nasty, nasty treat. Power Shot going to fly through. Secures 3 Spiderlings. Yes, if you can believe it. My goodness, what an interesting game. Yeah, excuse the sarcasm. I really would like to see these teams fight. The Broodmother eventually going to focus that Spiderling army into the Wind Ranger, but can't actually secure the kill. They do have a Fissure, doesn't connect on the Wind Ranger, but does onto the bench. Going to cancel that TP, and the spawn Spiderling secures the deal. Broodmother gets that kill, and 3-2 is going to be our kill score. And the Crazy finds herself a little bit more. Well, maybe the Crazy is himself. Broodmother secures herself a little bit more. Wrap around in mid, onto the Zeus. Hex onto the Lion, suggesting a bit of a pickle here. Going to get her spiked up. Hoof Stomp, double edge, flies through. That's going to be the end of his life, and stuns up Mino on the way out, too. Jubilu going to eat the Fissure, and now an Arcane Bolt. One more auto attack from the Earthshaker. Going to be the end of the Centaur's life, but at the cost of Mino's own. He has no stick charges and is going to be assassinated by the sniper. Boom, headshot. Collapse 2-2 is going to collect a little bit of extra gold, and the Broodmother left alone with this tier 1 tower. Going to have some nice bit of damage applied there, too. Once the glyph subsides, that is. Even with the inflated numbers coming out from the Broodmother's Spiderling CS that's been given to the Wind Ranger, which up to my count is probably about 15, Bristleback is caught up, or has been keeping up, and is well on his way to be a juggernaut this game. Strafe has, again, a very fast Vanguard. Not Vladimir's offering is probably going to be working towards the S and Y again. I don't think there's really any reason to switch up the build. No, maybe there is. Well, we'll just have to see what he settles on. Banner Rune bottom, secured by the Broodmother, and unfortunately Regeneration Rune is the one we're going to see up top. Not the most interesting of runes, not going to really set up any kills. It will suggest a full spot of mana if he wants it, and he'll look for a couple words, but ends up not finding it. Vengeful Spirit will ping over by the Broodmother, but with an army of, well, what looks to be about 25 strong? Who knows? It's really hard to count those stupid things, but it's going to obliterate these creep waves, and, well, if you just look at that one attack, that almost one-shots a range creep. Alone, the Spiderlings do not do that much, but as a unit, they do a whole heck of a lot, and, well, the Lion, if you take a look at his HP, he's pretty much just 2 range creeps strong when it comes to that department. That Spiderling army, pretty much one attack, Zeus ultimate, and the spawn Spiderlings is going to be the end of his life if that actually comes to fruition. Spiderling army finds out Deeks, and well, Deeks is dead. Zeus, do you want to seal this kill? Do ya? Not going to press his ultimate. Eventually he will, but not before the Broodmother's fingered down, and Wind Ranger secures it with the power shot. 1-1 inside the Radiant jungle. Probably not worth it for the THD side. I think they probably should have just pulled that Zeus ultimate a little bit faster. But in the end, probably doesn't change much in the grand scheme of things. Zeus still farming up mid, Broodmother getting a decent chunk of gold, and their Bristleback is still as happy as ever. Happy as a clam up in this top lane. Sanj, you have to fly out to the courier, but has purchased. Wrap around in mid. Earthshaker and Sky with Mage just going to show themselves over the creep wave. They'll get Earthspike doubled up, and now the TPN. Is the center coming in first? No, it's going to be the Vengeful Spirit. So Magic Missile flies through, Power Shot into the Skyrath. Easy 2 support pickoffs. Yeah, that's really risky to go for something like that. They did not expect the Lion to be there. Nice Earthspike coming out from CNB is going to net them 2 kills and a nice swing golden experience. Although it does cost them a lot of rotations. Yeah, why not? Works out for them in the end, huh? It will leave the Crazy alone in the bottom lane and the Bristleback alone in top. So they'll continue farming away. So it's not as bad as it looks for THD, but it's still a win for CNB, all things considered. The Crazy looks like he's going to be going for a Midas this game, but maybe the build is going to be something else from this Broodmother. Honestly, I think Midas is a pretty decent choice. Hoof Stomp, double edge, going to secure 1 Spiderling, but that's going to be about it. The rest of them will be reserved to just regen inside the web, and it looks like the Crazy thinks about going in, but now Power Shot going to mop up a handful more. That's pretty much it. Not much else to talk about in this bottom lane. Well, yeah, I'm not exactly sure when the time that these teams are going to go is. Blink Dagger on the Centaur is usually the trigger, but at 13 minutes in, with only about halfway there in the gold department, Centaur not going to be coming online for much longer. Strafe might find himself a free line here. They were forced to TP in mid, and I'm not sure that they have TPs ready. Actually, they do. Never mind. If he knew that this line was alone, I'm pretty sure that he'd just run at him, but doesn't actually have vision over the enemy team in its entirety. Vengeful Spirit not showing on the map, and doesn't look like the Centaur is either. But now Lion going to walk willingly into the bristleback, and it looks like he's just going to run at him. Pings galore, and everybody's just going to walk away. That's all she wrote. Centaur has invaded the Broodmother's woods looking for her, and it is indeed going to be a Midas on the crazy. Eventually, potential going into a Dagon could be pretty good. Spawn Spiderlings has already been spent onto the Wind Ranger, and the Wind Ranger is going to keep her safe. The power shot flies through, mops up a couple of those spiderlings, but unfortunately for THD, Wind Run really good against spiders. You can't actually attack something if it's blurry, running away, and what have you. Well then. It's Midas as well for the Zeus. THD are going to buckle down and maybe learning a little bit of something from last game. The passive game it is. Down towards bottom, however, they're going to be able to catch out the Centaur. Earthspike can return onto Zeal, and the power shot flies through. Wind Ranger going to be able to get that kill in a 1-for-1 exchange. Centaur for Skyrath is going to be the cost of it at the end of it. And, well, that's about all she wrote. Swap back in mid. Magical Missile on to suggest the Midas has been delivered. He'll be able to Midas before he falls, but with the sniper just pew-pewing away with the Mask of Madness Maelstrom. Well, that's not going to be long for this world, that's Zeus. And, well, after that, it's going to be a straight Mjolnir rush for the sniper. My goodness, out of nowhere, Klotz22 has found himself a truckload of gold, 3-0 on 2, farming up an absolute storm. Down towards bottom, the Crazy and company are potentially setting up to take down this tier 1 tower. It looks like they're going to do so. With no CNB heroes close by or ready and willing to actually mount a defense, it's going to be a free tier 1 for them. So at least they get something in return for that Zeus kill, I suppose. Not directly by any means. Tier 1 tower in mid is going to be chopped away, or chipped away at by Klotz22 as he activates the Mask of Madness and goes to town. But not going to be able to take it in its entirety. But we'll drop it down to about half damage. If nobody comes here soon, he will be able to take it. Well then, slow down again. We're going after the Centaur. Continue to farm up with that Blink Dagger. You can drop the Tranquils and jungle pretty effectively with Jubilee, although he's going to lose a lot of his HP. If Zeus ults just happenstance here, it'll be the end of Jubilee's life. Come on, Zeus. You know you want to press R. Go on something else. You might get a free Jubilee on the side. But yeah, I think the Centaur needs to be very, 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 very careful. No dire words close, but yeah. I think he's just kind of the hero to watch right now. Yeah, come on. You know you want to. It would be lethal. He's got a double edge again, down to 2 HP. Come on, Zeus. You know you want to just scout the enemy team. You don't have that great vision, do you? I don't know. Who knows? Either way, Centaur eventually should make his way back towards base, and he will do so. But then again, Broodmother, she's found a tasty Klotz22. Invised up, they might decide to go on this one, but no blink or anything of the sort on the Zeus. And any way to bridge the gap, they're going to decide against it, as Broodmother just continues to farm up inside the woods. Why not? Centaur is now above the critical rage for Zeus ultimate, so we don't have that to look forward to, just getting zapped down from heaven out of nowhere. But we do have Mjolnir, so Lightning Lords galore on both sides, except for this one's a sniper, and he is a force to be reckoned with. Just look at Mino, he gets hit like 3 times and is dropped down to half HP. And, well, 3 times for a sniper is incredibly fast. 1.5 seconds to be exact, a little bit shy of that. 0.49 per each attack coming out from Klotz22. We'll have to see if the team's going to be able to buy him enough space. Right now, it really seems like CNB are just waiting for that Blink Dagger to come out from Jubilee. Meantime, in mid, there'll be a couple of shots fired over to Mino, but he's going to be just fine. Speaking of Blink Daggers, we now have one up on the Wind Ranger, so maybe she'll be able to start some fights for CNB's side. Maybe they aren't going to be completely reliant on the Centaur after all. But yeah, state of the game really hasn't changed much. The net worth advantage is slightly in the favor of CNB, and mostly in the pockets of the sniper. And experience is probably a lot more significant there, in the 3,000 advantage. And what that actually equates to is a sniper that's sitting on the top of the net worth chart quite comfortably. Fissure thrown over in the sidelines, potentially looking for somebody, but not actually going to connect on anything. Or Shaker, a little bit hopeful there. Centaur finally does have that Blink Dagger up, but it's going to be matched by a Lion Blink. Now with the 3 Blinks on CNB, please do something. Group up and smoke. We have one in the Lion's inventory, and I think this is about time. They'll smoke up with the Wind Ranger and the Lion both, and they can very easily assassinate pretty much anybody that they want. It looks like that anybody is going to be Zeus. Going for the Midas first, really not in any situation to survive, even with just the sniper there. Smoke going to be popped on Amino. Focus fire, Finger of Death. My goodness, that's a lot of hate. He used to be there. The lightning pretty much ended his life. Dust is going to be thrown out onto Broodmother, but actually not going to happen. He'll be able to survive and makes it over towards the sidelines. Poor Earthshaker is going to be at the receiving end of that first Blink gank, and honestly, I think that's worth it for THD. As anybody else would have been a lot worse. They're chasing the Broodmother down towards bottom, but the Crazy has avoided detection, and he'll be able to survive. Speaking of the Crazy, his net worth is starting to pick up quite a bit, sitting on 3,500 gold in his bank. We'll have to see what he decides to go for this game, and really, the world is his oyster. I think he could go for pretty much whatever he wanted and probably get away with it. Honestly, I would not be opposed to a Dag in this game coming up from the Broodmother, and although it sounds a little clowny, CNB, their lineup is just so squishy. If anybody comes to the Broodmother's lane and she has a Dagon 5, they're gone, especially with some extra global backup coming out from the Zeus. The Midases are a ticking, and THD are more than happy to just sit back and chill, even though Sniper is fat as all hell. Zeus going to take a little bit of damage, self-inflicted from the Soul Ring. He has regeneration to pretty much back everything up, so we're pretty much just sitting on our own side of the map. And for now, THG's own side of the map includes the Radiant Wood, since Broodmother has pretty much made this her home. The Crazy will continuously do that. Sniper, TPing back out to the mid lane, is going to keep himself safe from a potential gank up towards top, but that's about it. Again, Centaur dropping low. Zeus, unfortunately, doesn't have mana for his ultimate, and honestly, I think it's worth just throwing out every once in a while. If you're playing so passively, at the very least, get a glimpse of the enemy team every 90 seconds to make sure where they are. And who knows, maybe you'll get a little Centaur kill here and there. But yeah, in the end, doesn't actually matter. Centaur is going to be able to escape a potential death with Global Map Vision THD. More often than not would pull the trigger. Ned, setting up towards top, has that blink and is at the ready. Actually, for the Broodmother, it's not going to be the Dagon I was talking about. This is the more conventional and probably the better choice. In all honesty, I'll reserve that. Fair enough. Yeah, the Crazy is going to be able to assassinate heroes very easily. It's going to allow that Wind Ranger to actually die to her Spiraling Army. Hoof Stomp up towards top. They bring in the line as well, but he doesn't have the Finger. They used that previously for the Earthshaker kill. Strafe is going to try to run away, but a Shackle Latch is pretty much going to ensure his demise. LMAO is on the backlines, and behind the Bristleback and the Quills are starting to stack. He'll just be able to run away. No opening for it. LMAO trying to get it. He will after a handful of Maelstrom procs. A double damage rune on the Wind Ranger is going to be able to secure his demise, and in the meantime, Sniper finds himself a pretty slick kill onto the Zeus. Finally, CNB, they find something with the net worth advantage that they've been sitting on Klotz 2-2, as well as with the advantage they have on Wind Ranger. It is a little bit deceptive to look at the net worth chart, as THD have invested 4,000 of the gold, 2,000 on both the Broodmother and the Zeus, into hands of Midases, which really don't do much for you. Sure, attack speed is kind of nice onto the Broodmother, but it does squat for the Zeus, except for accelerate him towards the level 11, level 16 faster, as well as get a faster Aghanims with pressure, which by no means is bad at all, but it definitely is punishable, as we've kind of just seen. Inside the Radiant Woods, Earthshaker is going to be joining the Broodmother, at least for now. We'll have to see who's going to bite the bullet. Looks like it is going to be Mino. Unfortunately, again, he's spotted out, but now he has Brood behind him with that Spiderling Army going to town on the poor Lion. Zeus ultimate, easy kill for the Zeus. Gets the killing spree as well. And the Crazy is going to at least... No, never mind. I was about to say some of his Spiderling Army would survive, but in the end, that's mopped up by Klotz 2-2. A lot of CS thrown in the way of the enemy team. Even though 224 and 18 is really good, don't get me wrong, the Sniper is farming very fast, I would love to see how many of these are actually Spiderlings and how much gold the Broodmother is given willingly or unwillingly to the enemy team. It is quite a lot, and it does stack up throughout the game, and something that you need to be wary of. The Crazy has maintained a pretty large Spiderling army, which does help him farm out the jungle, and is very nice to have, but it's been cleared out at least 3 or 4 times. Which, in all honesty, I think you can equate to a hero killer, too. They'll look for a gank again onto the Crazy. Trying to invade this Broodmother's lane is pretty difficult, but we'll have to see if they're going to be able to accomplish this. If I'm not mistaken, they have a gem on the Centaur. He's the one that's holding onto it. And, well, that should be enough to kill off the Broodmother. They can actually find where this brood is residing. For now, the Crazy is inside a nook in the trees. Scotty completed up by Klotsu 2. This sniper is really getting a lot of farm. It's rare that you see snipers get this much and not die. 5-0 and 2. Klotsu 2 has found himself a really comfortable game to be sitting on. And, well, I don't think that's changing anytime soon. Klotsu 2 is really trucking. Windranger, the Spider in the army, isn't enough in and of itself. It is! With the soul burn coming out from the Orchid. The Crazy finds a solo kill very easily, too. Up towards top, a fight to Bruin with a nice double hoof stomp on the Suggest as well as on the strafe, and the Bristleback just can't do enough. No missing flare into Klotsu 2, and it looks like he's going to lose his life, and he'll be bopped down, but not before getting a double. But in the end, all that does is feed a wicked 6 spree towards the Bristleback. Once you jump on top of that sniper, he's a lot easier to manage, and the 2 dire supports will be able to find it. But in the meantime, you also have the Crazy who's having his way with the bottom lane after picking up the Windranger. He's going to need Nurse Spike. Hex to the face. They have the gem. Blink Hoof Stomp. Double Edge. They'll be able to connect him. Finger of Death. That was completely necessary. And, well, that came out sounding sarcastic, but it was. That was a very clean kill onto the Broodmother. Can't really ask for much more. Making all around the map a 2 for 3 kill trade. And, looking a lot better for CNB. After losing their sniper, of course. Which is not a situation that you ever want to be in. The AoE gold is also not something to underestimate. If you look at after that sniper kill, how far down that graph dips, it's quite impressive, actually, since he was sitting on so much net worth. 16 to 9, CNB continue to find themselves with a little bit more of a lead, but aren't really doing anything with it aggressive onto the enemy side of the map. Again, we're seeing a game where no tier 2 towers have really been pressured all that much, except for the bottom one, I suppose, but that's still marginally healthy. The ones on the Dire's side, mid lane took some damage, but yeah, that's pretty much about it. We do still have tier 1 towers standing on both sides as well. Neither team really seem comfortable to aggressively seize control of the enemy side of the map. Mino has a Blink Dagger now up, and this is going to help out THD a truck ton in their initiations. It'll make it a lot harder for the sniper to find safe places to shoot away at the enemy team at, as you always have the threat of Blink Echo Slam. But then again, the sniper is not the squishiest of targets. 1800, almost 1900 HP at his disposal. Although the Mask of Madness definitely isn't going to help him in that regard, he's still marginally hard to bring down. Especially before he brings you down. Does a lot of damage in return with the Mjolnir, as well as just with headshot procs constantly. We do have the Aghanim Scepter up for the Zeus, so THD are also getting a fair chunk of items for themselves. But yeah, we're pretty much stuck in this state. I'd really like to see CNB put to better use their Blink Daggers and the farm that they have in their sniper. I think they're in a situation where they can take a 5-on-5 fight a little bit more effectively than the enemy team. That is put into question by the, Earthshaker Blink Dagger. My goodness, I missed a kill. Apologies here as the Broodmother gets picked off down towards bottom, but a smoke is a Bruin up top. Can they find the Windranger, or Skywrath and Earthshaker just going to go for the big wraparound? I don't think they actually spot her out, and instead they'll look for Klotsu 2 in the middle lane. By themselves, can these supports actually kill off the sniper? I think the answer is yes. They'll open up with the Echo Slam, but the Stampede gets him outside of that Mystic Flare, and Klotsu 2 survives to shoot another day. He'll kill off 1, he'll kill off 2, Power Shot flies through, and Klotsu 2 is living after all of that. The Zeus ultimate has already been used inside that exchange, and although it drops everybody pretty darn low, it isn't enough to actually get a kill. That Spiderling over there might have been able to kill off Jubilee. I don't think so. But still, that is very scary to be that low on the Centaur. But lucky enough for him, he already knows that Thunder God's Wrath was previously used. In the end, CNB find themselves with a big advantage. Failed gank from THD. They really wanted that to pan out. But then again, the silver lining is that CNB aren't actually getting anything map-wise after that kill immediately. They are, however, getting an Eagle Song, working towards a Butterfly onto the Sniper, who's currently sitting at 19,000 net worth. Yeah, it's not really pretty if you're THD dealing with a sniper that's this fat. He's out farming the Midases on the team. Magic Missile going to be thrown out onto a creep. I think that was intended for the Crazy, but he faded out a little bit too fast. With the Centaur not close, didn't actually have the gem. Actually, where is the gem? Not on the Centaur for sure. Radiant Courier doesn't have it. Dire Courier doesn't have it. Dire Base doesn't have it. Am I missing something? Okay, he picked it up again. Okay, I'm not sure where it was in transit there. But yeah, eventually Jubilee is going to pick that up. The Crazy, walking through the creep, shows himself to the wave. Instant! Blink Hoof Stomp, double edge, boom! Oh, that's a dead Broodmother. Going to buy back instantly. It looks like they want to take a fight here, but Oh my goodness, CNB were waiting and ready for that Broodmother to do just that, and they'll punish it. Let's see if this buyback on the Broodmother is going to accomplish anything. Honestly, it feels like it's not going to. More or less just a rage buyback, expecting his team to fight there, but not actually going to happen. I hesitate to call it a rage buyback, actually, or rage buyback. It really wasn't. I think the crazy just honestly expected THD to initiate there, but they didn't find the opportunity. They'll poke their heads in the Roche pit, but in the meantime, they get the Blink Hex initiated on to Suggest. Double Edge flies through, and the Mystic Flare is completely off the mark. Suggest still stands, and he'll be able to throw out the Zeus ulti, but that's a dieback on your Brood, as she's brought down by the Sniper, who just comfortably sits in the back lines, and continues to shoot away with Focus Fire on to Strafe. He's going to drop down. Mino, probably going to be the next to fall, but Windranger also dies, but still the Sniper's alive. Suggest not going to get assassinated yet. He needs a little bit more vision and can't actually find it. Mino in a bit of a pickle. Unfortunately for them, they don't have any Zeus ultimates or ways to actually spot out those enemy heroes. But still, Klotz22 is unanswered in these fights. Sniper now has a completed Butterfly, and it looks like he's just going to completely run away with this game. Klotz22 is going to shoot away at that tier 1 tower, and, well, what can they do? THD just don't have any answers for a Sniper that is this fat. 13, 1, and 2 is exactly how much he's actually picked up. Tier 2 tower down towards bottom, going to probably be taken out by the Sniper. One way or another, it is going to fall. Butterfly going to be flown out to him, and, well, he's already blown his way towards the next time. Why not go for a Daedalus next? Yeah, it's really scary. This Sniper is pretty much nearing his 6-slided territory, and probably will be at like 35 minutes into the game, which is pretty darn absurd. CNB shouldn't sit on this Sniper, however. They should continue going for these tier 2 towers, I think. That's probably the best way about it. The Broodmother finally is respawning after that dieback down towards bottom lane. But yeah, I think the ball is in CNB's court to make some plays. THD's heroes still aren't completely online or completely where they'd want to be. Strafe is having a hard time sticking on targets when you're dealing with headshot slows, Scotty slows, Klotz22 just going to town on you. It is really hard. Tier 2 tower in mid is going to be taken out by the Sniper easily, but then again, the Zeus ultimate, the Orchid, they will defensively swap out Klotz22, and they do have a Stampede, 4 staff out. The Sniper is still surviving, but now slowed down. Strafe is going to have none of that. He's going to bash him down very easily. In the end, it's going to be Sniper for a tier 2 tower, probably not worth it for CNB given the current state of the game. Fisher walls off Jubilee, and now it's going to be even more, and that's a gem on the deck. THD, they find themselves a big opportunity. It might not be over yet. Windranger getting run down by Strafe. Has 3 stacks of the Snot onto her, but a blink away is going to keep Windranger a little bit safer. No way to cancel that. The Earthshaker just a little too far away to get that Fissure off. So THD, strike back and in a big way. Although it could have been worse for CNB. Honestly, I thought they could have gotten away with that, but that Zeus ultimate, really backbreaking. I must have underestimated the amount of damage that did, and just being able to instantly jump onto that Sniper, even with all of the defensive abilities that CNB have between the swap, 4-staff play, coming out from pretty much all of these supports, I want to say, except for Vengeful Spirit. Deeks just has no gold. Blink away from Ned in the mid lane, going to keep him safe, coming out from the Strafe and the Crazy. But the tier 1 tower not going to be so lucky. This is going to be forfeit by CNB. I don't see them trying to defend that without their Sniper. Going for any more, however, is probably a little bit overzealous coming out from THD, and they'll back off and go into the Roshan pit. With the minus armor coming out from Bristleback's Goo, and just the physical damage that Bristleback's bringing to the table, I think they are more than equipped to take down a Roshan, although maybe not before CNB are ready to actually contest it, and I think they can, but not unless they move into the pit right now, and I don't really think that they actually see what's going on. Roshan, this is going to be a pretty easy second life for THD. Not sure they're going to give it to, however. We'll just have to wait for that, and, well, it's going to be the Bristleback. There you have it. Double life for Strafe, and he's going to be able to pretty much do whatever he wants in these team fights as long as he has the support behind him, and that's pretty much the biggest question. Bristleback might just ended up getting kited around to no end, and his supporting cast might just die too quickly. In particular, the Zeus Skywrath. Especially the Skywrath. He's only sitting on 800 HP at this point. That is, if Sniper gets lucky with the Mjolnir procs, like a 2-shot and 3-shot if we're being generous, that guy is not lasting very long. And we do have that Crystallis up too, so there is the possibility of just straight up 2-shot onto the Skywrath Mage. Not a happy life. Not a happy life at all. THD will put together the push in mid lane, going for the tier 2 tower, and it looks like that is going to be the course of action for them, and CNB are just not in a great position to actually defend against this. Although the Sniper is close, he's going to start opening up into Strafe, and he gets a couple of attacks off, and will pull off the creep aggro. That might be enough to save this tower, however. Yeah, Class 2 too. Just a little bit too farmed here for THD's own good. They want to do something with this Aegis, but in the meantime, they lost the tier 2 tower up towards top to the Wind Ranger and her focus fire. And really, CNB haven't needed anything else other than this to repel the push. He'll assassinate the Crazy, even though he was just kind of chilling there. Poor Broodmother. Only needed a couple more attacks to actually get that kill. If anybody was close, it would have been enough. But for now, that's THD backing out, because they have to. They're going to bump into the Wind Ranger potentially with this Bristleback, and this could be the death of Bristle, or at least the loss of an Aegis. They have an Assassinate to get vision. Gem's still on the deck. I didn't actually see them not pick that up. Wind Ranger going to drop a TP and secure that and run back to base. Huh. I thought THD for sure saw that the Centaur had the gem and for sure took that out. Zeus ultimate going to be dropped, trying to get THD a little bit of extra scouting utility, but don't find anybody to go on immediately. That's currently in an awkward situation where he doesn't really want to go south, doesn't really want to go north, and eventually will find his way back towards the rest of his team. Despite having the Aegis on the Bristleback, CNB are still the ones with superior farm, especially on this sniper. And probably the superior ability to fight, unless we see the miraculous Echo Slams, which potentially could come out from this Earthshaker. Smokes galore coming out from the Skywrath Mage. I think this is a good play coming out from THD. They need to make something happen. If they're not going to do it with this Aegis, it doesn't really feel like there's ever a point in this game where they're going to be able to do this. Although Sniper does eventually fall off when you have numerous blinks on the NTP, I don't think THD have a team that really is equipped to deal with this 6-slotted Sniper. Eventually he'll replace out that Mask of Madness with something else. Monkey King Bar maybe if he just wants a lot of damage. If he still wants to hold on to that lifesteal, maybe go for something along the lines of the Satanic. That's pretty much it. Broodmother, however, caught out down towards bottom. Finger of Death, nothing going to be saved from the Crazy, and he'll eventually get shot down, even with a nice defensive fissure from Mino. That's pretty much all he can do. He'll try to straight up TP out, and it looks like he is going to succeed. Shackle Shot just cooling down after all. THD do have an Assault Cuirass to top it all off onto the Bristleback, and my goodness, the damage he's pumping out is pretty immense. When he's able to get enough Warpath stacks up, he is trucking. But it really feels like they're pretty much capped out when it comes to their ability to fight this game, THD. Broodmother, even though she can get a lot more items, isn't, for one, and also I don't think scales well enough with those items to really be effective. So I think THD are in a very sad situation this game, or a very uncomfortable situation at the very least. They're relying on CNB to make a mistake, to throw the Sniper towards them, or to get overzealous and go for an aggressive play, but it's just not happening. CNB are looking pretty darn comfortable. Okay then, they'll start the pressure up onto the mid lane, and well, that's pretty much half damage onto a tier 3 tower, even more than half damage to that tier 3 tower for free. They don't commit anything. Really nothing. Blink Hoof Stomp. They find themselves ZL. He's got to get power shot from the road gun. 4-staff down. Clean pickings. THD did not have the Earthshaker in position to actually 4-staff, or rather fissure and punish that Centaur. Tier 3 tower falls down without a fight, and THD just can't find an opening. Sniper is starting to open up into this Bristleback, and what usually is a very tanky hero just can't take it from that Sniper. And constantly, that Scotty slow is going to be an absolute nuisance for him. Shackle latches onto Strafe, and this is going to be the end of the Aegis, I feel. Oh, nice Fissure going to blink them out, but then the Blink Hoof Stomp catches out 3. Sniper isn't actually able to stick onto a target, but there's your Aegis down. Yeah, just took 1 or 2 crits from Class 2-2. This man is dishing. CNB surviving now, looking for a Shackle. Doesn't latch onto the Bristleback, but then again, he's trying to run into them. The Sniper can just turn around and kill him if he's not careful. The Fissure does land onto Sniper, but my goodness, this Bristleback just can't find an opening. Honestly, at this point, I think you consider going Blink just so that you can actually get into the fight, but you're blinking into a team with hexes, with defensive swaps to keep the Snipers safe, with 4-staffs galore, with Centaurs, with Stampedes, with Class 2-2 dealing a million damage a pop. That's a free-range barracks for them, and this was supposed to be THD's fight with the Aegis. It's just not looking good. Melee barracks getting chunked at by Class 2-2. Won't actually be able to mop this one up, however. For now, they're repelled as their creeps are dying in mid, but then again, you have top pushing in with 4 range creeps, bottom lane is pushing in, and there's something that THD need to do about this. It looks like they're going to lose a tier 3 up towards top lane as Klotz 2-2 will start opening up into the creep wave there, and well, just look at that. Half damage already done. Long range Fissure, but this is going to be put an end to by the Blink in. Hoofstomp coming out from Jubilee. 4-staff down. Going to keep him safe. Earthspike from lower ground. The Crazy's down, and both of those heroes do not have buyback. Without the Earthshaker Echo Slam, can THD actually mount a defense? Klotz 2-2 is able to just sit on the high ground and go to town onto that tower without really much fear of anything. Strafe is going to get mana sucked. They do lose their Lion to the ultimate coming out from the Zeus, but they lose their Zeus to the Sniper. And the Skyroth Mage, class 2/2, casually sits inside a Mystic Flare. He doesn't care. He has a million HP, the Sniper. He just can't do anything about it. He's going to start focusing down Strafe, and honestly, I think he should probably back off and hit the barracks, but then again, they swap him back. They can't do anything. That's a Rampage for Klotz 2/2, and nobody has buyback. That's as good game here. And GG called out by Strafe. THD going to get wiped out by CNB in a pretty clean 2-0. It looks like CNB's execution was just slightly ahead. If you take a look at that early laning stage, it was so passive in both of these games. But in the end, all it takes is just a couple slip-ups, and THD couldn't do anything. Again, it's a situation where they just weren't able to utilize their heroes' strengths and actually reach their peaks at a decent timing, that as well. I don't think that Broodmother really did anything for for THD. I think it actually fed more to CNB, in all honesty. 3, 8, and 5. I can't really say it was a stellar performance, but I think the story of this game is Klotz 2/2 on the Sniper. Absolutely untouched, was able to just go to town. Thanks for watching, y'all, and it has been a pretty good series, and this will be the end of it. If you like the casting you see here, you can follow me at GrandisV on Twitter, and, well, you can follow the HeflaTV crew at Twitter, Facebook, and here on Twitch at HeflaTV. The VODs will be uploaded to youtube.com/HeflaMook in about an hour or so. I think that's going to be it for today, so thanks for tuning in. Hope to see you on some future broadcasts. Bye-bye for now.